CJN Ariwoola attacked in public after Supreme Court judgment. Welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. Please subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post hot juicy news updates. Please click on the notification bell. In a scathing critique of the unchecked authority wielded by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, retiring Supreme Court Justice Datijo Mohammed lambasted the composition of the panel responsible for affirming President Bola Tinubu's election victory on Thursday. Mohammed, who reached the mandatory retirement age of 70 on Friday, voiced his discontent during the farewell session held in his honor at the Supreme Court premises in Abuja. This marks an unprecedented direct criticism of a sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria, as Mohammed highlighted the excessive concentration of supervisory and administrative powers within the nation's judiciary. While the current Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukaide Ariwoola, was not a member of the panel that delivered the judgment on the presidential election appeals, he was solely responsible for appointing the panel. Addressing the composition of a court 7-member panel that dismissed appeal filed by Atiku Abubakar and P2B against President Tinubu's election, Mohammed contended that all 6 geopolitical zones in the country should have been represented. The panel, led by Iyan Gokoro from Akwa Ibom State in the South-South Zone, ruled on Thursday that the appeals from Mr. Atiku and Mr. Obi lacked merit before affirming Mr. Tinubu's election. Out of the 6 regions of the country, only the South-South, the Northwest, and the Northeast were represented on the 6-member panel. The retirement of Mohammed from Niger State North Central and the passing of Sentus Weze from Enugu State Southeast in July further exacerbated the lack of representation for these 2 regions on the significantly diminished Supreme Court bench. Mohammed attributed the delay in ensuring representation that these 2 regions on the Supreme Court bench to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, asserting that it was a deliberate action stemming from the unrestricted authority vested in the office of the Chief Justice of Nigeria. To ensure justice and transparency in presidential appeals from the lower court, all geopolitical zones are required to participate in the hearing. It is therefore dangerous for democracy and equity for 2 entire regions to be left out in a decision that will affect the generality of Nigerians, the judge warned. Mr. Mohammed's strong critic is the most recent in a series of retiring Supreme Court justices, voicing concerns about a sitting CJN and various aspects of Nigeria's judiciary, citing its lack of transparency and inefficiency. In June 2022, 14 justices of the Supreme Court expressed their dissatisfaction to the then CJN Tanko Mohammed regarding the precarious state of affairs at the highest court. The protesting judges accused the former CJN of authoritarianism and misuse of authority. Mr. Mohammed remark come less than 2 months after former Supreme Court Justice Abdul Aboki, during his farewell court session, emphasized the need for openness in the management of judiciary funds. In May 2022, HMB Echo, who was retiring from the Apex Court, lamented the prevalence of corruption in the Nigerian judiciary, particularly in the handling of its financial matters. There is no impediment preventing the Auditor General of the Federation, the ICPC, and other investigative agencies from scrutinizing the financial records of the judiciary to uncover corruption in the management of the budgetary allocations. Mr. Echo emphasized during his farewell court session, urging anti-corruption agencies to conduct thorough examination of the judiciary's financial transactions. In his impassioned address, Mr. Mohammed reflected on his nearly 5-decade-long judicial career, culminating in his ascent to the position of the 2nd most senior justice of the Supreme Court before his retirement on Friday. He pointed out that as the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Judicial Council (NJC), along with the other key statutory judicial bodies such as the Federal Judicial Service Commission (FJSC), the National Judicial Institute (NJI), and the Legal Practitioner Privileges Committee (LPPC). The oversight responsibilities of this entity should not be solely vested in one individual. He cautioned against concentrating such immense authority in a single person, noting that an individual with absolute power is susceptible to corruption. Mr. Mohammed asserted that, given the extent of his authority, the CJN unilaterally appoints members to various judicial institutions without consulting fellow justices or seeking their advice or input on any matter pertaining to these bodies. His decision was both final and exclusive. The Chief Justice of Nigeria has the power to appoint 80% of members of the Council, NJC, and 60% of members of FJSC. The same applies to NJI and LPPC. Such enormous powers are effortlessly abused. This needs to change. Continued denial of existence of this threatening anomaly weakens the effective judicial oversight in the country, Mohammed noted. Utilizing his extensive judicial expertise, Mr. Mohammed criticized the notable absence of representation from Nigeria's southeast region on the Supreme Court bench. He attributed this circumstance to the unrestricted authority vested in the office of the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Following Mr. Mohammed's retirement, the North Central region now shares on the lack of representation on the Supreme Court bench along with the Southeast. Mr. Mohammed detailed the dwindling numbers of justices from a North Central and Southeast zone on the Supreme Court bench, either due to retirement or any unfortunate passing. As it stands, only 4 geopolitical regions, the Southwest, the South-South, the Northwest, and Northeast are represented in the Supreme Court. While the South-South and the Southeast have 7 justices, the Northwest and Southwest are fully represented with 3 each, he explained. The retiring judge noted that appropriate steps could have been taken since to fill outstanding vacancies in the Supreme Court. Why have these steps not been seamlessly taken? It is evident that the decision not to fill the vacancies in the court is deliberate. It is all about the absolute powers vested in the office of the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the responsible exercise of the same. Although the Chief Justice of Nigeria recently advertised vacancy in the court, which currently has 10 justices, the court is 11 short of its full complement of 21 justices. Wow, sincerely, absolute power corrupts. They should do what? They should remove, or make it a thing of, if they are going to come up with a particular thing, instead of the CGM being the one to do it, it should be a joint, a deliberated matter. Alright, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.